Hello, Miss Abby Davis. I think this interview that we're doing is just to give students an opportunity to get to know you, you being a new associate principal here of curriculum. One of the first things I think on students' minds as far as wanting to get to know you is if you're able to maybe talk a little bit about your background. What do you think students should know about you on a personal level?
Yeah, well, Talan, thank you for having me. I have loved my time here at River so far. Really feel embraced by students and faculty, so it's been a great start. But a little bit about myself. So I'm from Vancouver, and I should have gone to Columbia River as I lived in the boundaries. But I didn't for high school. I went to a private school in Portland. So it's really cool to finally be in a place where a lot of my friends growing up went, their parents went, and just to be part of the tradition at River and kind of see what the culture is like here has been really cool. So I'm from Vancouver. I left and I went to college in Indiana University. I played sports there. A sport. In particular, I played softball, which was a great experience and taught me a lot about life. And that's also where I got my elementary education degree. And so I came back to Vancouver, started as a teacher. I taught at Eisenhower and I taught at Discovery for 8 years total. And then the last 12, I've been an administrator all at secondary schools, so middle and high schools. Specifically, I was at Skyview and then Geyser, Flex Academy, and now Columbia River. So this is my 20th year in education, and I couldn't be happier. This is going to be a great year for me and a great year for the Rapids.
So what drew you to River specifically now as an administrator? What was that process like?
Yeah, so there was some changing of things at Flex Academy. The district was really looking at revisiting or revising their alternative learning structures, and that includes Flex Academy as well as the Heights campus and the branches. And so with that came some opportunities for some leadership changes. And so Columbia River had an associate position open. Mr. Roberts, as many know, retired and moved out of the country. And so there was an opportunity for me to come to Columbia River. I really enjoyed my previous experience at Skyview High School as the curriculum associate and getting to work with students as they plan their, post-secondary plans. That's really important to me, and especially, myself attending a four-year university, attending it as a student athlete, that was a big draw for me for River. The athletics and the academic tradition here are really strong, and so I hope to provide some perspective and support for students who might be pursuing higher education, as well as working with students who are looking at different paths. Whether it be military or trades or two-year universities, community colleges, things like that. I feel that my experience over my years in secondary education, I've worked with a diverse group of students, and so I feel that I can connect with them and support in ways to help them access education and then whatever their goals are for post-secondary.
Yeah. And since you're a new administrator here, when Mr. Roberts, who you mentioned, when he was leaving, did he give you any advice, or have you received any advice from any other administrators?
Yes.
And if so, what would you say has been the most valuable of that advice?
Yeah, Mr. Roberts and I have known each other for a long time, and so he was just like, "You're gonna love it here." He's kind of does the talks with his hands. You're gonna love it here. It's so great. So I appreciated that. I appreciated his enthusiasm and energy, even after a long career in education for him. He still had really great things to say. And then I've also worked with Mr. Odapal as a principal myself. We were colleagues and thought partners in a lot of conversations about middle and high school over the last few years. And then Mr. Duncan and I have both been curriculum associates together. So I feel nothing but support from the team here, and it's been a really positive start for us.
Yeah. What led you down this path to becoming an administrator? And perhaps before that, what led to your interest as an educator?
That's a great question. I'm sure many of our students might be in the same situation, but my parents were both educators. So they both taught in Vancouver Public Schools. My dad taught elementary and my mom taught middle school. But prior to that, my mom also was a paraeducator here with Mr. Smith way back in the day. And so they always instilled kind of the values of an educator. And so I wanted to pursue that. It was very natural for me in my home. I had great examples. My sister is quite a bit younger than me. And so I was always kind of like her teacher or her coach. And so it was just naturally built into my skill set. So I knew right away when I went to college, Indiana had a great school of education. That was part of the reason I chose to go there. And then when I came back to Vancouver and started teaching, I was blessed to work with really great principals as a teacher that saw some potential in me as a leader on a bigger scale and encouraged me to pursue my leadership, my master's in educational leadership. So.
Yeah, and now that you're here at River as an administrator, what are some of your main goals as an associate principal here?
Yeah, so first and foremost, just getting to meet students and staff and finding out their needs, even if it's just a quick hello or connecting to resources or materials, just really getting to know people. I'm a people person. I like to build relationships with people. I like to make them feel valued, make them feel like they belong. And so that's really my first goal this year. Secondarily is to support the growth and structure of instruction at River, really meeting our kids where they're at, but also providing high rigor and high expectations for student achievement for all students. I think that's really important. And third, one of the things I'm really excited about is working with some students through our unified sports program, which is really kind of at that foundational level right now, but building unified sports and unified opportunities, more inclusive opportunities for all students at River to access athletics, to access leadership, and just really bring about awareness and support for the individuals who are in our building.
Yeah, you talk about support for students and staff here at school. What does your plan look for in regards to that in terms of supporting both students and staff to achieve success by the end of the school year?
So I hope that students and staff both feel that I'm accessible, which means like my door is always open. They can come and see me. I'm out in the commons. If people need to talk, I'm more than willing to sit and more than willing to listen. And I think that listening is really important, especially when you're new, and not making biased judgments or judgments based on past experience, but really getting to know the authenticity of our students and our staff and what they're advocating for here at River, and then helping to connect them to the resources or the teams maybe that we need to get around the table to work through problems or make some changes.
Yeah. To you, what does a successful school learning environment, what does that look like?
So first and foremost, when you walk through the doors, it's happy. There are people greeting each other. There are smiles. There's positivity that you can see right off the bat at Columbia River. I appreciate the way, just even in the mornings, our admin and security team are out and about and seeing kids, and I see kids greeting each other. And I love that. There's lots of high-fiving going on, lots of smiling, lots of hugging, sometimes squealing when you see someone you haven't seen in a while. But just the general atmosphere needs to be positive. That can be displays, whether it be student artwork or posters or announcements, club announcements, things like that, the displays, lots of student voice happening, lots of student activities going on. And then in the classrooms, when I'm visiting classrooms, I expect to see, again, happy teachers and students, whether it's teachers instructing with enthusiasm or students maybe up doing presentations, lots of group work, lots of collaboration amongst students, lots of student talk. Those are things that I look for in a positive school culture.
Yeah, and in terms of your approach as an associate principal, what would you say your leadership style looks like?
Yeah, so my leadership style, like I said, is very open door policy. Come in, see me. I'm very low key. I'm very laid back. I'd actually prefer to be called Abby rather than Miss Davis. It's just more natural for me. And I'm laid back in that approachable way. But at the same time, I have high expectations. And I really believe in whether it's teachers or students, I believe if I haven't taught you or shared my expectation with you, it's really difficult for me to hold you accountable. And so oftentimes when I'm working with students around situations, it's a lot about learning. It's a lot about learning from the mistakes we're making and setting expectations in place to move forward and grow from experiences. I'm a strong advocate for resources, so I would hope that students and staff feel that I'm advocating for the things that we need here at Columbia River in order to be successful. And that means having a strong sense of belonging and having high rigor in our classrooms.
In regards to having a strong sense of belonging, how do you think we can get there together as a school?
So I think it's really important with a unified club that we really talk about what are some of the differences amongst us here at River, but that still unite us as a student body. And that's what we hope to do with the unified club and getting more people involved and kind of spreading awareness. But I also think that calling out issues when they happen, such as the hate and bias protocol we've been going over as a school over the last 3 weeks, really stopping hate speech or hate actions in their tracks is really important, and that's going to take all of us. It can't just be the adults in this building who are intervening, because there are way more kids than adults, and so hopefully we start feeling like we can step up and make the building more accessible and safer for all. And I think those are things that will increase a sense of belonging.
Yeah, and if students have those thoughts, those recommendations, maybe even concerns, how do you plan to engage with them to make sure that their voices are heard?
Yeah, so we have our student advisory team that, of course, meets with Superintendent Snell and representatives from other buildings. We also have our diversity club, which meets, and Miss Parker and Miss Bamford work to support that club. Those are two really good places or access points for kids to share concerns. I also would just encourage students to come forward, come meet with myself, meet with Mr. Duncan, meet with Mr. Odepal, maybe suggesting things that we haven't thought of, or other groups that we need to bring together to have conversations.
Yeah, I have a question for you about schools more broadly. What do you see as one of the biggest challenges in education today, and how do you think we can address that issue right here at River?
So one of the biggest challenges I see in education today is that technology plays a big part in our day-to-day operations, whether that be our one-to-one devices we have, our computers, or the personal devices that students have, cell phones. Obviously, here at Columbia River, we've done a great job to work to limit the distractions of cell phones. And I think teachers have done a great job to set those expectations early with students. In general, students, I think, are engaging better with one another, which is the ultimate purpose of us as educators, right? Our goal is to engage you in the content so that you grow and can become global thinkers and have positive impacts in society. And prior to not having technology, there was a lot more discourse and a lot more conversations being had in schools. And I think the technology isn't going away, and we have to figure out ways to coexist. And I'm super proud of our staff for really banding together and setting some expectations for conversations for student interaction early on this year. And also for students for being willing to take that risk and putting those phones aside and being able to engage with your classmates. Your teachers are noticing that, and so are your administrators, which is a cool thing.
Yeah, I want to shift gears a little bit, a lot actually. Outside of school, what are some of your hobbies that students might not know about?
Yeah, so I love sports, love athletics. That's just something that's always been part of my life. Currently, I am an empty nester, so I don't have any kids in my house. My son is a freshman at Brigham Young University, so my hobbies really with him are just trying to stay connected in some kind of network, whether that's FaceTiming or Snapchatting. We do those things, but just connecting with him and kind of finding out what's going on with him. He's a big part of my life, but I'm also super happy for him, and he's doing amazing. But without him in our house, we have less sports to attend. No football, no baseball, but we like to do things outside. I recently picked up golf over the summer. I've learned patience and I've learned grace for myself through the sport, and I'm totally improving. So that's been fun. We try to get out every week for a small golf outing, and then just spending time with our dog, spending time with friends. I don't know, I like to be social, but I also do appreciate kind of just hanging by myself. As you can imagine, working with 1,200 kids, plus a lot of faculty, you can get drained sometimes, and so it's nice to just have some downtime, and having an empty nest has allowed me to do that.
Yeah, that's definitely something that can be fun too. Lastly, just to kind of conclude our interview today, what do you think would be something surprising that students might not know about you?
Oh gosh. Well, I feel like this is kind of like two truths and a lie, you know, that game. Let's see. So some things you might not know about me. I failed my driver's test twice before I got my driver's license. Third time was the charm. I was speeding one time. And then the other time, the guy said I was driving on the wrong side of the road, which I had to avoid a semi. I'm not quite sure what he wanted out of that, but it's kind of one of those little known facts about me. I am a good driver though. I skipped a grade. I skipped the 4th grade, or I was accelerated kind of in October of my 4th grade year to 5th grade, which then allowed me to graduate in the year 2000, which was pretty cool. And I really like NASCAR.
Okay.
Yeah, I really like NASCAR.
All right.
So.
And you skipped in a good way, the
I
grade.
did skip a grade in a good way, yes.
I can relate. I feel you on the driving one.
Yes.
So, yeah.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah,
All right,
skipped a grade in a good way.
Thank you so much for taking the time to sit down with me here today.
Yeah, thank you,
This was
Talan.
good.
I appreciate it.
Thank you. Hey Rapids, if you like this video, make sure to hit the like button and subscribe to the CRTV YouTube channel to support content for and by CR students. Thanks for watching.